I'm Leon Todd for G66. Welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, we are revisiting an absolutely classic amp model, the Deluxe Verb Vibrato and the Deluxe Verb Normal. These are models of the two channels on the iconic Fender Deluxe Reverb, which may be one of the most, if not the most popular tube amplifiers of all time. The tried and true way to use these amps essentially is like a pedal platform where you set them up for a clean to lower gain sound, and then you run effects pedals and drives into them to get a variety of different tones. And a really great starting point with the Deluxe Verb Vibrato on a guitar with some single coils would be having the gain and bass quite low and the treble above noon. I'm using the matching 1x12 Deluxe Verb Dynacab at the moment. And I've got a little bit of plate reverb on here, the gold plate, just for some ambience. So this can give you some really lovely, chimey, clean sounds. And as I said earlier, if you want to run drives into that, start out with a drive block over here. A classic would be something like a Tube Screamer style drive. You know, we could take, what are we going to take? There's so many different Tube Screamers. Let's just take the T808 OD. With the Strat, I keep the tone down, take the drive and the level up, and you have yourself a great blues rock tone. That's such a classic combination on there. However, if you're using a guitar with humbuckers like this Les Paul Custom that I've got at the moment, you'll find the Deluxe breaks up fairly quickly. If I take the gain, say, to around 3 on the amp with the same bass and treble settings, I've got some crunch happening. So if I wanted a pristine humbucker clean, I'd probably look elsewhere in the range of Fender amp models on there. The Band Commander is a great place to start on there. Similarly, the Vibrolux model in there is beautiful for clean sounds, even with humbuckers. But what we can do with the Deluxe Verb Vibrato or Deluxe Verb Normal is lean into this character on there. And they actually work great as hard rock and rock amps on here. I'll show you how to set them up. And you know, if you've ever run a Deluxe Reverb before in the real world, you've noticed how much of a difference different speakers in there. Older Deluxes had Oxford speakers. Some of the newer ones will have Jensen's or Eminence speakers. I've played Deluxes which have EV speakers in them. And I've also run my Deluxe Reverb through my Marshall 4x12, which surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, sounds a lot more like a Marshall. And the trick is to basically set the amp up so that it's absolutely raging and cranked, but then you use the guitar volume controls to get your variety of different sounds out of it. So what we'll do is we'll take the gain all the way up over here, and we'll take the treble all the way up as well. Now, these amps can get quite flubby pretty quickly, so we'll start with the bass all the way down at 0. I'm going to switch over to my free LT-TV Mix 7 cab IR. This is an actual IR of the Marshall cab that I was talking about before. And what we'll do is we'll just hear this as a rock amp. This is such an underrated crunch machine on here, especially on the bridge pickup of a Les Paul. That is pretty unreal, especially boosted on there. There's heaps of gain, and we can tighten it up even further with these Tube Screamer settings with the drive low, the tone, and the level cranked on there. Let's change over to the neck pickup now, but I'm going to start with my volume control really low because you can get some beautiful clean sounds out of this setup. The idea would be kind of like using a real amp. If you just cranked the amp all the way up to its limit and then managed the resources from your guitar, you'd be able to get not only more volume out of the amp, but you're going to change the gain structure on there. So this is with the volume at like 1 or 2. This is such a testament to the accuracy of Fractal amp modeling on there. It behaves like a real amp with my guitar volume and tone controls on there. And this is what's so interesting about guitar gear in general. You know, turning the gain down on the amp to get a cleaner sound isn't the same as having the amp cranked all the way up and using the guitar volume and tone controls to clean the amp up on there. And one thing that I recommend to a lot of people if they're chasing classic sounds, especially from the 60s and 70s, is to try and think the way those players would have been thinking about using their gear. Again, before you had master volumes, you would manage things from the guitar. Before you had every boost pedal under the sun available, you would set the amp up to be crunchy with your guitar volume lower and then turn it up to get that extra range on there. And I think the Deluxe is such a great example of that. And I would really encourage all of you watching this to try this amp model with your favorite IR on these settings and then play around with your guitar volume and tone controls. I say this so much, whether it's using, say, the Plexi models in here, the Trainwrecks, the Vox models, especially the Deluxe Reverb in there. You can just get so many different shades of a tone on there, and you can really find the sweet spot. Like for me personally, the neck pickup on here with the volume around 6 or 7 is just an absolutely beautiful chimey clean sound on there that I wouldn't have thought of if I didn't play around with this. And another advantage with the Axe-Fx FM9 and FM3s, you can just try all these classic amp models and it doesn't cost you anything extra. So I'd highly encourage you to try this as a starting point and then try some unusual settings on some other classic amps and play around with your guitar volume and tone controls, combine them with different effects, and just have a playful attitude to these things. Yes, you can set these up to get the kind of tried and true classic sounds, but you can also do so much more. If you've got questions, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, I will see you all on next week's Tuesday Tone Tip. I'll play you out with my favorite settings on here.